Welcome to the edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. A special edition, Mexico versus Germany, took place a couple hours ago. Mexico loses to the Alemanes 4-1. We have reactions, we have explanations, we have maybe hopes. We have at least a chat to talk about what just happened in the game there in Sochi, Russia. Let's start out with a question right away. Let's just do it. Let's talk about it. You are the FMF, Naib and Jason, you are the head right now. You have to make a decision. Do you let Osorio go? Since apparently nothing has been learned. Naib.
Buenas noches, Wiso. Jason, I'll stick with Osorio, and because of the hexagonal run. Of course, the final results against the knockout rounds. The results haven't been that positive. I mean, 1 goal scored, 11 conceded against Chile and Germany. However, is this idea? It's always this idea of the process. The people up there decided to get Osorio. They knew what they were getting when they decided to get him. Stick with him. He's already in the World Cup. Do I see any improvements in the World Cup? We'll see with time. But definitely today was a dagger, because I think the lineup wasn't appropriate, actually, because it wasn't the best available 11, in my opinion. Leaving Bella on the bench during the entire match doesn't make sense. But then again, it's trying me to be sort of, okay, let's leave him and see what happens. But I do get the other side. I mean, I will admit that my support has definitely gone way down. When the Confederations Cup started, I think I was, maybe on the 7, even 8, but now I'm actually on the 3. So it's like I'm saying yes, but it's not like, okay, let's keep it. I believe firmly in Juan Carlos Osorio. I think today he left a lot of doubts. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people believe, and they're in that conundrum that I was just telling about, keeping going with this process. But does this necessarily mean that it's going to be successful next year?
Yes. I like your explanations. It's a mouthful there, but you're kind of hard to say no for the sake of just saying we don't want to disrupt, this process. Jason, same question to you. You're the FMF. You have to make a decision now. This is the last time you can make a decision. There's no more fail. I don't see there are any more failures coming up until 2018. If you're going to make a decision, you can make it now.
You do, and honestly, I mean, we go back to last year and like. I hate to constantly bring up the 7-0 kind of thing, but I mean, there was a case right after that match that it could be done, right? You could say, okay, let's have a real process here, because that was against the trend. I think a lot like something the FMF was going for was kind of against the trend of what happened during the end of that Chepo era with manager. So they go against that trend and stick with Osorio, stick with a plan. And, he had a notebook, right? He's writing all kinds of notes down. He's like a real professor there. Like he has a plan, and it's clear that he is well accepted by this roster, which is not something we've always seen with Mexico managers. So this is a manager that seems to really have brought this unit together, and it seems in a lot of ways positive. Yet we keep seeing, not just today, we've seen it for so many times where we question, I don't understand any of these substitutions. I don't understand where he's playing these players. I don't understand this lineup, and it doesn't make any sense at all. And we saw it again today, and there's no question. It hurt Mexico today. The way Osorio lined up this team, it didn't make sense. We saw the issues right away, what they were going to be. I think we saw you had the tweet out, if this is a 4-4-3, or if this is a 4-3-3, we're in absolute trouble in this midfield. Guess what? We were in absolute trouble in that midfield with that 4-3-3. Alanis at left back, it was a problem. So if I am in charge of the FMF at this point, I let him go at this point. I mean, because as Nate just said, we're not going to get, or I think Wesley just said it, we're not going to get another test until we get to the World Cup. And I have absolutely no confidence at this point that we're not going to see these strange lineups that don't make a lot of sense, and putting our players in a position for failure rather than success.
Because it's also this topic that, for example, some people be saying, well, the Mexican talent is not that good enough. And I disagree with that, because in 2014 with Piojo Herrera, they competed against Croatia with Luka Modric, Rakitic, Perisic, all these great players that we see in Europe every week. and they defeated that team. I think that what happened here is that this is sort of like it's self-imploded because the team really never had equilibrium. You know, the goals were coming, you know, off long balls, you know, set piece plays. The development of the football was kind of off. You know, the transition from offense to defense was always kind of shaky. And of course, when you play against Germany and you leave those spaces open, you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna lose. You know, it's like it was bound to happen. There was this hope. I think we were talking with Wiso before the show that, you know, maybe, you know, with the way that everything's been going and the set piece, the goal comes. Look, the team took 9 shots on goal today, you know, and then there was that play in the first half where Chicharito, you know, didn't do the right touch on that play and went over the net. You know, what would have happened there? It was 2-1 heading into halftime. But nevertheless, I just think that the way that they lost to Chile and Germany doesn't really showcase how good the national team can be. And yeah, the fault is on the players, but also in the coach's decisions. And of course, today, I think Osorio really killed it with his decision because, you know, how do you leave Carlos Vela on the bench? And I think as much as you tell me, no, well, I left Raul as a starter because he's physical and he can, you know, play body to body. I just don't understand that kind of deal. I mean, I think your best players always have to play, no?
Answering that question is kind of tricky, and that's why we started it. And looking at the poll on the Mexican Soccer Show Twitter, if you were the FMF, do you fire Osorio after today's result? Yes, it has to be done. It's at 33%. Stay the course is at 56%. I would have fired him last year, 11%. So a lot of people are obviously at least 30. It's not saying a lot of people, but that are voting. So go ahead and vote. But interesting in that question because I don't want to be known for changing coaches. I honestly would love to keep Osorio, see what he has, but I mentioned it to Jason in that this is our last time that we can. He's not going to mess up until the World Cup unless something horrendous. I think we can still not make the World Cup if we lose all of our games and Honduras wins like 5-0 on the rest of the games. There's no way that Mexico that we're gonna.
Mexico's in the World Cup. I mean, I think when we look at Mexican football history recently, you know, it's always been this desire to make the World Cup. That's kind of like the end game for everything. That's what got fired Chepo La Torre for not reaching the World Cup, you know. And now the man has the team in the World Cup. The thing here that we're kind of debating and it's questioning it's just that when you play against top caliber teams, El Tri tends to get just overrun drastically, ridiculed, because I think that's the word. It got ridiculed by Germany, got ridiculed by Chile. And that didn't happen before, you know. It didn't get ridiculed by Argentina in 2006. It didn't get ridiculed, you know, in 2014 against the Netherlands, even the penalty deal and whatnot. But that I think that's the thing. And right now that we're saying, Jason, if Osorio's out, who do you bring in?
That's where I'm coming back to. That's where I have to settle down and go, okay, so let's just say if Tuca is there, knock on the door, I would actually welcome a Tuca. I would. I wanted to see what he can do with the team. I'm not saying Tuca is the best option, but there isn't anybody out there, guys. If you think that there's these coaches trying to line up, we don't. Many people are saying already, Almeida has done what? One season, you know, has won one championship. I don't think that they're going to get us to the more than the quinto partido. We need better coaches. We need someone that knows the Mexican game. It's going to be difficult to try to find someone from now until next year. Piojo could probably do it, but Piojo's not going to be coming back. It's just that's the predicament we're in. Would I like a better coach? Yes. Would I like not having to gamble every game and looking to see and find excuses of maybe that could work? Yes. But it's hard to do. It's hard to think about that.
Yeah, so, I think that's the risk we have, is that we do undermine something that we have with the roster, I think, with the players, because I think they have something right now. You know, because as much as this was bad today, it wasn't Chile. It wasn't what happened with Chile, because, I mean, that game, I mean, to erase the score lines, that was embarrassing. What happened on that field, it was embarrassing the way the players played. Today wasn't that. I mean, there were just those same defensive lapses we keep seeing.
10 minutes.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we had some solid play today where Mexico did assert themselves today, and they did have some of the play. So I think you do lose something by replacing the manager. That's a risk you do take because you don't know who you're getting. And it is tossing it up to chance. But I think we're at the point now where the chance that we have a successful World Cup, it's looking less and less likely, where if you do bring in another manager, whoever it might be, there's at least a chance, right?
Yeah, there is. Like we said, there's definitely a chance. Let's just kind of chat regarding. And let's just go from the very beginning. We saw that the first 11, and right away we noticed it. Right away that midfield was not there. It was just in existence. And I was kind of wondering, and I was trying to find a way to have something in the midfield, but without Guardado there, without a contención being called, it was like there really wasn't anything else unless you go super defensive. But you're right. It looks like he almost tried to do the same thing with New Zealand, and thinking that Gio was going to come back. At least Herrera was there, obviously, and Jonathan was there, but thinking Gio was going to have some kind of form in the midfield, and it didn't happen. Many people were questioning even Gio being on the field. I didn't mind Gio being on there. It wasn't. That's a coach finding, thinking that Gio might have a better game. That's fine. It's the fact that, again, we're starting to have players out of the back, but I can't think of another 4 players that I would put on there that would be okay. And it goes back to the people that he called for the Confederations Cup. Trying to put players where they're not comfortable playing, because the injury, Reyes, even if Reyes and Salcedo would have been there, who else would you put? We have nobody at right back. Tell me what other players that we could have put there from Mexico that are in the Gold Cup. That's who should have been in there. I just feel from the very beginning we're already trying to find players that are not comfortable playing in their position. I don't know if that's got to do with the Copa Oro. I don't know, because it's the 2 different tournaments that they wanted to be competitive in. But again, taking Jesus Molina would have been huge.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely, that like a real defensive midfielder is
Jonathan is not it.
So missing. But
everyone thinks that Jonathan and Herrera could be those defensive midfielders.
No,
they cannot play that role.
They can contribute to it. They contribute to it, but they can't be that guy. Go back to that back 4. What's the explanation for Alanis playing left back when you have Luis Reyes, who is a left back, on the bench? What's the explanation there?
I mean, it's always going back to that height, being good in the aerial game, kind of, which goes against Mexican football ideology. Take a look at Chile. I mean, Chile is kind of the same. I wouldn't say same level, but the same type of player as a Mexican player. And they're not talking about height and being good in the aerial game, but that's what Osorio always points at, like this physical aspect. That's why this player plays instead of this player. And we went with that. We've been accepting it because he's going well in the Hex. But we saw today that it just doesn't work, when you're playing players out of position. Look, for example, with this situation with the left back and the right back, Layun really didn't play with Porto in the last 6 months, and going into this tournament, we're saying he needs to get minutes. He needs to get minutes so he can get the rhythm. He can be sharp. It's not the same when you're rushing to get sharp than, having a good 6 months of football before this tournament, and Layun really didn't have it. You could simplify the problem and just say, all right, Chivas won the title in the Clausura. I'm gonna put Chapo as my right back. I'm gonna put Alex Hernandez as my left back, and I put Gallito Hernandez as my defensive holding midfielder. I mean, you could easily done that. That's what Piojo did in 2014. He united what America was doing good and united with León, put it together, and he got a team, and it actually played all right. Here with Osorio, he's trying sometimes to invent things and overcomplicates it, and it could have been that easy. Just, okay, put Gallito in the defensive midfield position, put Chapo on the right back, put Aris Hernandez on the left back, since it worked so well for Chivas, and they won the title.
I'm saying it comes back to the choice of players that he called for this squad.
It just doesn't make sense.
It always goes back to it. It doesn't make sense. And
it doesn't make sense that he didn't call at least one defensive midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just took Rafa, and Rafa was not
100%. Or maybe that was it. Maybe he bet all on Rafa. I just cannot understand why he's going, we don't need a defensive midfield. It was like warning lights, how everyone who knows about the team and knows about tactics, now we're not even coaches, we're just seeing the team. We can't control the midfield without a defensive midfield. He's so stubborn on having Moreno go forward. That is his thing, having Moreno start either a long ball or passing it to a forward or going into the sides. You know, this is where somebody could bring in like Herrera. And again, Herrera's still not doing his job in what he wants him to do. Oh, we talked about, you know, kind of the starting 11, Gio in there, Alanis in there, not having a strong midfield. I wasn't too bothered about Chicharito and Raul. I wasn't too bothered, you know, because I think they could work out against this Germany. But it just goes back to, we have to judge Osorio on his results, right? Because we were giving him a pass if he kept getting the results, which is exactly what happened in the Copa America, right? But we were just seeing these warning signs that something's not right with our defense. We are not ready to play big teams, or we can totally see 3 or 4. He's gambling, and sometimes he gets, for example, the New Zealand win. Sometimes he's going to lose, and we're gonna.
Even today, the substitutions were wrong. You know, it wasn't like the right.
Fabian scored.
Yeah, Fabian scored, but Fabian should have started. I think Fabian should have started
Absolutely,
instead of Giovanni.
Yes,
that was the start. That was a straight call.
I didn't think Giovanni didn't do that bad.
That's not the right spot for Gio. That's not the right position.
But I don't see Fabian taking that spot either, being like great at that spot.
But he scored a golazo and he played in that position. He took 2 shots on goal in 5 minutes. That's how quick the impact was with Fabian. And the thing here, he took off Aquino, who I think was probably one of the best players in the first half, to put in Chucky on the left. And Chucky's not that good in the left. Chucky's good on the right. That's how the goal came.
This is where I might disagree on that, and that's because Aquino wasn't doing anything offensive. Chucky gave that great pass to Raul, who was also a golazo. Almost.
Yeah, but I think Aquino also supported defensively because they were putting a wrong left back.
That generated more than Aquino did at all offensive. I think Aquino did great backing up Alanis.
Exactly.
But that's the problem. Aquino had to go all the way back, and I'm like, and as much as Aquino tried to do his 3 or 4 moves over his 2 German players, they were not working. The same thing that he always does against Germany in the back was not working. That's why I said Aquino needs to be subbed out. At least you can have Chucky go a little bit forward, go over it, try to do a little something different. And he was. I wasn't too crazy about the subs coming in. It's the start of the game. That's what we are already losing at the start of the game. I don't think there could have been any other subs because the defense, again, he didn't change anyone in the back 4.
But I mean, for me, I think, you know, if you make a halftime sub is something is wrong. I need to fix something. And if you don't like what Aquino is doing, you have to at least say that Aquino and Chucky are more or less comparable players. I mean, you're playing them in a similar manner. So you're making a like for like sub there where it's not fixing anything. And then when they take out Gio for Fabian later, it's another like for like. You're not changing anything in what you're doing.
I don't think Osorio thought anything was wrong because. Hold on, before anyone freaks out. The 10 minutes was just horrible defense, horrible mistakes, and after that, for the next 30 minutes, Mexico actually did well. Mexico looked like they were the team that was dominating. It looked like okay, but it could have been because, you know, Germany was like, all right, here's possession, go nuts. But I think that's when Osorio goes, okay, it looks like we're okay. Our defense is fine, which is what he keeps seeing before the games, and he wanted to add something offensive. He changed in Chucky, which I feel they did a little bit better. Right, that defense still. Somebody actually should have had to come in. I would have put Rafa and would have went 5 in the back, or at least had him in defensive midfield in there and pulled somebody back. Like he needed to change something. Maybe it was because Osorio saw that Mexico was doing well, but then the second half started, Germany began to press one more time, and obviously it came back. I mean, it's like as soon as Germany decided to go forward, they were able to score on those easy counters, with one person losing their mark and Mexico not knowing what they're, you know, how to cover the other person. Could be because they've never played together, because that's not their spots, and they're not used to defending in that same way. Who knows?
Yeah.
I have to say that I have not seen Moreno play that badly in a very long time. I mean,
it wasn't a good showing from him today.
Moreno, the captain, looked scared, not running, just mistakes after mistakes. It looked like there's somebody else there. Those two goals was, I'm like, wow.
It's tough because, I mean, you could say like that whole back line was completely disjointed. Moreno's moving up, the rest of the back line is staying back, but I mean, it's hard to say how much is that a fault on Moreno, how much is that a fault on this back line that's in flux, and how much is the fault of Osorio that this team is not gelling in the back. They just seem confused as to where they should be and what their assignments are. Germany are flooding us at certain times when they get on the break, and no one seems to know who they should be marking. I mean, it seems like we could blame Moreno. I think he's certainly at fault for like, it wasn't a good showing from Moreno today. Our best defender. It wasn't. I don't think it was very good from him. But at the same time, the whole back line is kind of a mess, and a lot of that has to land on the manager.
Yeah. No, for me, this whole situation, it just confuses everything. It just clouds everything, and it kind of asks the question of what really the Mexican football really wants out of, you know, their national team. I mean, the planning is always awful. For example, with Santiago Baños as sort of director of national teams, all of a sudden leaves the post and goes to America, and now there's no director of national teams. Who questions Osorio's decisions? Who's the guy that oversees all the planning in the coaching realm of the national team? I mean, the planning has always been so messy and so disruptive that, you know, at the end, these results happen because the planning is so weak. You know, there's really no vision that goes more than just reaching a World Cup. And the level, and it's sad because I think the player development and Mexican players in Europe, you know, they're advancing. I mean, there's more Mexican players in Europe that didn't happen before. But if you really don't have a good structure that is all over, if this structure is all over the place, that Osorio can do whatever the heck he wants with the rotations, everything, but there's no one overseeing, overlooking, and questioning it, well, you see stuff that you saw today. You know, that it's just everything seems lost. The idea seems disruptive. You know, you see Moreno, who's typical one of your consistent players, mess up. You know, it does question a little bit of what does the national team want? How do they want to be remembered? Do they just get happy by just qualifying in the CONCACAF region, like being first in Hex? Is that good enough for the national team? That makes them, you know, happy.
No.
I don't know. You know, of course, no. The fan doesn't whistle, but the people that are in charge, maybe that's what makes them happy.
I don't think. It's like, what has the FMF done wrong? I'm trying to think of, you know, they got Osorio. I go back to, I don't know why they got Osorio, but okay, they're sticking with Osorio. I want to believe that, you know, obviously they want to be better and they're going to look at things. So I could justify firing and I could justify not firing. If ultimately Osorio is here to change the national team, it's happening. I don't know if it's for the good right now, but it's certainly not amazing in what's going on. And I just trying to find excuses for Osorio because I don't want to be that national team that keeps changing. I keep saying it back in there. If there were players playing in their position, right? If we had a Gallito, if, you know, the players were comfortable and we've had this type of competition and we have the team playing, I don't see it being that bad of a campaign for Osorio. But he continues to change teams, to do his rotations. He continues to make choices where he's being outcoached. Now it's USA. I guess Portugal will give him the pass that, I guess he did the right thing because we did get the result over end. But at the same time, it was a Moreno header towards the end that got us in. Okay, we'll give him the game. He gambled against New Zealand, completely gambled. We could have lost that game, and then we would have been in trouble. Against Russia, it wasn't so dominant, but again, we're saying,
it was a mess.
Yeah, against dominant, and we're going, he got the result. Okay, here comes a big test.
And 2 goals in 4 minutes.
2 goals, yeah. And when I woke up this morning and I'm telling a friend that came over, I said he doesn't watch a lot of football, just the big games, and he left from work and he's like, all right, go tell me, can we win? I flat out said we're not going to win this game. Just before the match, even before the came out, the confidence that the defense and that these players are giving me is not giving me any confidence to say yes, we could win. And if we win, like I said, my prediction, it's going to be like something. We're going to come back. I almost saw it in the 89th minute where we scored 1 goal, and then all of a sudden we were almost scoring another goal. It could have been 3-2, and then obviously Germany went and scored the 4-1, telling it was calm down there. You're not going to get even close. But you saw some glimpses. Let's talk something positive. All right, let's bring something positive out on this. If you can say that, something positive. At least we don't get to face Chile in the final. I don't know if that's positive or not. At least we don't get another humiliation. but it's hard. It's hard to try to, we do have one more year before the World Cup. I don't know how we're going to fix this team, but we know that there's a problem. Instead of let's say that Russia and Cameroon were the teams that we're playing, and we're all high and mighty, and we never faced tough teams like Chile or Portugal or Germany before the World Cup. We do have a year. I hope Osorio does something, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what needs to happen, but I just feel like we're going to either make it to that cuarto partido and lose against the big teams like Italy, Germany, France. Those big teams that know how to execute and can have a precision like crazy. I don't know what needs to happen.
I feel like the one argument that you always hear is that Mexico fans, the expectations are too high. Like, we expect Mexico to be world beaters, and I don't know what like your reaction to that is, but like I really fight back against that, because I think certainly, I mean, you could see like Mexico has some issues in defense. I don't think we have enough talent in defense at this point, or at least it's not being called up. But I think Mexico should be doing better. Mexico should be maybe not, winning World Cups, maybe not always in the finals and things like that, but Mexico should be competitive with the best teams in the world. They should be competitive. They shouldn't be going out and getting embarrassed, because I think that speaks to tactical issues. I don't know what you guys think about that.
True, it's true, because it used to be that we could. I don't know if this is good or not.
It's a football country that has a powerful league. And there's a lot of teams there that have a lot of money that can house the youth academies. I think there's a lot of factors that if they were well, prepared, if it was well managed throughout, there's possibilities. And I think the generations in the last 10 years have been bright. I think we see a lot of players in Europe, but it's just finding the right man. I feel really disappointed and frustrated, because you give a chance to Juan Carlos Osorio to coach the national team for a whole process, and he might at the end not be the right man for that position. I mean, because it's a huge risk.
Look,
it's a huge risk.
If we're trying to get to the quinto partido, that's what we're trying to do, right? We have to beat an elite team. I'm not saying we have to beat 3 elite teams. 3 elite teams were winning the World Cup. Okay, we only have to beat 1. That's it, just 1, and it's going to be a Germany, and it has to be the best team. And let's face it, our players, as much as we have great talent, this is a great generation. Looking at what other countries like France, with Germany, with Spain. Like, we are not there. It's okay. It's okay. But we have to demand some more when we're bringing in coaches. What are you going to do differently? And maybe that's where the FMF and everyone's just saying, give this guy a chance, because if everyone can finally get, and it's going to take 2, 3, 4 years, I don't know. It's going to take 4 years to finally get what this madman wants us to do. Maybe there, and that's, I don't believe that's anyone has the patience for that. If it's a Bielsa comes in and tells you, all right, I'm going to start from the very beginning with the youth. It's going to take me 10 years. I'm going to do what happened in Chile, but 2026 is going to be our World Cup. Would everybody be okay with that? No. And that's what you need, to change the mindset. I also think I'm looking at on the other end. The result wasn't a 4-1. They were, I just feel like things didn't go through. Our defense, yes, was crap, but I felt we should have gotten at least a few goals in there. And things could have been differently, but it's not a dominating effort. Mexico wins 3-2. Let's just say that. We come back 3-2. Going into Chile, we could say, Chile can score those goals all over again. And that's what it just kind of goes back to. These teams are not giving you the confidence that normally when Mexico would play Brazil, Argentina, we'd go, they're going to play their with heart, they're going to play. And we might lose with a Maxi Rodriguez golazo, or we might lose, because of a great play in the very last minute, or we might lose in PKs, but we can at least play al tú a tú.
No, I remember. I remember when we had the chat after that New Zealand win, and I remember I said, okay, the lineup that he's going to use against Russia, that's the lineup that he should use against Germany to build that consistency. and he changed it. I remember Wisa was like, "No, no, you're thinking crazy things." I mean, so he's gonna switch it up. But that type of thoughts. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, we couldn't because Guardado was there.
Yeah, the true that Guardado missed. But you have someone like Fabian who had a great season at Bundesliga, the league where most of these German players play. So I just don't get it. Why start Giovanni?
I feel that Guardado. I was like, Guardado does a lot. He may not be doing the same thing, but I feel like Guardado does a ton in the midfield.
He's arguably our best player, so I mean, it was always going to be a tough loss. Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, "Can we appeal it?" I kept messaging you guys like 10 times. Can we appeal it? Can we appeal it? You guys, like, we should calm down.
Yeah, but for example, like I mean, I know I sound like a broken recorder, but I still just don't wrap my head around the idea that he didn't even play Vela today.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I'm not that crazy about that. Bella wouldn't have done anything either. I don't believe Bella.
No. Look, Bella has been the most determined attack in the final.
So who would you think?
Without Bella, maybe US beats Mexico in Azteca.
No. I'll give you the Bella. Oh yeah, no, I'll give you the Bella. I just feel that in this game, we're down 2-0 in the half. I said he could bring in Chucky or Vela. When he brought Chucky, I'm like, okay, that's not that bad of a sub because it looks like we're dominating the game. It looks like we're doing okay.
Bella's more than
our
Chucky,
defense.
So. Bella's more than Chucky.
But I don't think. Who would you take out? Put Bella on the left?
Well, I mean, honestly, like.
And put Aquino there in place?
Chicharito and Raul were not getting the job done. I mean,
Chicharito almost scored.
No, I don't care if he almost scored. He was not getting the job done today. He did not have a good game today, and Raul did not have a good game today. They were not good enough today. I mean, yes, he had that one chance where he almost scored and he missed. But I mean,
I didn't think they had bad games.
I didn't like what I saw from either of them. Chicharito was.
You could have taken one of those two off. One of those two.
I mean, Vela. I mean, like again, arguably our best forward, right? I mean, like Vela, one of the best Mexican players. He's not playing, and you have two forwards who were ineffective today.
I feel like Vela. Did he do anything in this tournament? I don't know. I'm trying to come back with. I don't think he had the greatest tournament. I think after the US, he was great. He started. I don't know.
He got that assist against Portugal, no?
Was it an assist?
Yeah. I mean, but I think a talent of that sort, it's not like Mexico has 3 Velas. It's just one Vela, no?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think give it a shot and see if it happens. If it doesn't work out, you got some people on the bench and do the substitution like he did in the tournament.
Rafa almost scored twice, like with his headers.
Rafa didn't, but that's sad. That's just that.
When Rafa comes in and almost scores twice, and you're looking, I'm confused. I've never been this confused about our national team. When Chepo was doing horrible, I knew exactly what was wrong with it. Right? When I saw Sven Goran Eriksson, I knew what was wrong with it. Like, I have never been so confused with a coach. And it's almost frustrating, trying to analyze what these guys are doing. Nevertheless, like talking to, off the record with other players, Sage, for example, and when I'm interviewing him and, he's going to do the political stuff, but outside of it, he's just like, I don't understand it. I've been a player and I don't, he's creating this madman persona that even ex-players, they could be bitter or whatever it is. They just don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's hard to understand. I mean, what is he doing? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like the way he's setting up this team, I mean, it's just question marks every time. Like you see the 11, you're like, well, I don't know how they're going to set up. Is this a 4-4-2? Is this a 4-3? I have no idea because it doesn't. These 11 players don't make any sense. Like, so yeah, like it's hard to understand what's going on. I mean, I'm happy the players have this morale and this team spirit, and I think that's great. I just want him to play the players in the correct positions. I want them to set up realistically. I'm glad. I like that Mexico is now playing. We're not playing that kind of we're up against the team. Let's just do this with defense and spirit. Like we're going out there and saying, let's play them head to head, right? We did that against Portugal, and it was aggressive and it was attacking.
We shouldn't do that against Germany.
No, I mean you can do it against Germany, but have a plan in the defense.
Okay, I'll give you that. I just feel like he's like, I'm gonna play them.
We're doing them like he did. It's like he played them against half-ass attack because we're just like attacking, but then just leaving our complete back line exposed. And it's just ridiculous.
He almost played. I think he played him almost exactly like New Zealand with slightly better players. That was his planteamiento from the get-go. And again, Osorio has gotten outcoached since The Croatia game, yeah, we did a little bit better in the second game. Then against the U.S. game, I feel like he got outcoached. Then I haven't seen him go, oh yeah, Osorio finally got it right. Alanis was almost going to get subbed out. I feel like maybe he didn't sub him out because every time Alanis comes in, he gets subbed out in the first half, but he needed to be subbed out again. And that's what happens to everyone.
The poor man is playing out of position, though, as well. We got
yeah. I mean, you can't really put it on Alanis. Like, what is he doing there? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I guess maybe have like just blinders on the fact that Bella didn't start. Okay, that could be a one. It just the midfield is what I was just crazy about. It didn't matter if Bella was there. I just felt the defense still had a problem. Maybe Vela would have scored. I'll give you that. Maybe he would have gotten 2-3 goals. We still would have lost by 4 or 5 goals because
that's
as soon as Germany would have gone forward again, they would have scored because they said they did it.
The way we set up, it was we were going to have to score with them. We were going to have to keep scoring with them because they were going to get goals with that lineup. It was just going to happen.
Yep.
And we didn't score. But that's what we've been seeing all tournament is like we're getting all these chances, but not really connecting in the final third.
We're not finding the goals. Right? The U.S. goal is almost the same thing.
It's consistent. It's consistent at this point.
So tell me that it's like, okay, yeah, we're doing great. I mean, Bradley tore apart that midfield because it was non-existent, and then that defense came in. All right. We always try to think about positive stuff. Again, we have one more year, but I really can't.
Jonathan is positive, I think.
Yeah. Jonathan probably had the best.
There you go, Jonathan.
Yes.
Finally, he's taken in consideration. Bold and Memo, man. Memo. Time out. Did you feel like Memo was a little off today?
I felt like he was off the whole tournament. I mean, he had some blunders earlier in the tournament as well. Yeah, coming out when he shouldn't have come out.
I feel like there was just this game. I don't know. But
his line, like I don't know.
But it's also tough for the goalkeeper, when the back line is always changing. No?
He should be used to it. He's been in horrible defensive teams. I mean.
I think that's what makes it hard to really pinpoint some players, because I mean, at the same time, I don't know. They always know what they should be doing at every moment. But yeah, I haven't like this entire tournament, and I agree with you today, Wiso. Just there's something about the Ochoa confidence I normally have when he plays at Mexico that hasn't quite been there. That I don't always see with the other goalkeepers. Just like that full blown confidence. I know what I'm doing, and they're going to score goals occasionally. But like, just the goalkeeper seems really confident in what he's doing back there. Yeah, we didn't see a lot. Certainly not Mexico's even top 10 biggest.
I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it was his fault.
No, not at all. But yeah, I agree with you. Just a little.
I felt like I feel like when you watch football and you expect a keeper to do something, and you're like, why isn't he doing it? And I'm like, okay, that can happen one time, but it felt like it happened a lot with Ochoa. He did save, a one-on-one, but I felt like even then he needed to come forward to close off the angles. That was just kind of my thing. Layun has been someone that has really, really, really surprised me. Just the drop of play that Layun has had since someone that is running like constantly.
No, I think he's not playing in Porto. No, that plays
a
toll.
And then there was he just didn't play against the U.S. We didn't know why. Do you remember he was injured, but no one said what he was injured or he was sick. Nothing really came out of why Layun didn't play in the U.S. against the U.S. And when we were there, he said that he's injured or he's not able to play. That's what Osorio, but he never said why. I'd be really interested to know if maybe it's something serious or I don't know. But I haven't seen Layun play like Layun has.
Well, I mean, it seems to me like he has been like fully kept back. He's been kind of forced to be kept back in that back line, and Layun's not. I mean, for me, he's a
five.
That goes forward. He's most effective offensively and coming forward, and like he's been mostly relegated to defensive work, and it's not him. Like that's not his best play. That's not his best role.
Yeah. Jonathan, the positive. Chicharito got his goal. Man, I really wanted Chicharito to score against Germany. Just to him. I think I was trying to do this little statistic. I think Chicharito has scored on every World Cup team except for Germany and I think England, and then Everybody else, I was just like, man, that would have been great. But hey, that golazo by Fabian, though. I mean, you got it. I think I was looking at my phone going, this is ridiculous. And then I just see a ball. I see that replay. That could have been a goal. That could be the goal of the tournament.
Yeah.
It was a golazo, which is not surprising from Fabian. Right? Yes, time to wrap. I'm sure everyone's having fun in the chat. Haven't really checked on it, but you know, it's 1 year before. Let's try to give you something positive. It's 1 year before. We have great players. We have great talent. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if Osorio is ever going to change his ways. He did go and talk to Bielsa for like 3 weeks and did all this time off and got some psychological help after that 7-0. I don't know what he does. I still feel that that 4-1 could have been a little bit more, but we'll see what can happen. Let us know on the chat right now. Continue the conversation. Should Osorio be let go? If I feel like if I was Osorio, I would be like, look, I guess I'm wrong. It's like I'm 100% in my rotaciones, and I'm looking at my notebook. If A plus B, I mean, if 1 + 1 = 2, I think it should work out, but it's not working out. I need to step back.
We put all those good notes in his notebook too, and he didn't seem to read any of them.
We gave him those.
Come on,
those notes.
come on, Osorio.
All right.
You know, positive to end the show on.
The Copa Oro.
And Liga MX starts in 3 weeks. So,
Liga MX.
Liga MX starts in 3 weeks.
Liga MX start 3 weeks really quick. Kind of a lucky display from the Ghana, you know, those kids against Ghana. I felt Ghana was going to score at least. They got the 1-0 win. We'll see. I think Osorio is going over the Gold Cup. So the positive is that, hey, there's these youngsters trying to play. There's these youngsters that are going to try to win a tournament, which would be huge if Mexico does win.
Let us hope they can give us a little bit of joy, you know, I think, to close out the summer.
Yeah. The game against Portugal, how do you even see that? I mean, I know it's a third-place match, but do you think – I believe Mexico is going to want to try and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make conclusions in that one. I mean, practically –
Well, we made conclusions in 2005. That was a game that Mexico lost against Germany.
I think it was different, though, no? It was kind of a different loss, that one, in 2005. I think it was a penalty kick loss.
2007, Mexico lost against Argentina in the Copa America 3-0, was humiliated, then came back to the third-place match and beat Uruguay.
Yeah, with Guardado scoring nice goals. I remember that one. No, but I think right now the team, we'll see how their spirits go. I mean, I think it is a tough loss for the whole team because it does hit this idea that, oh, the team was in union. There was this desire to make a difference. And once again, bam, they have a hard loss. And to get back up, I mean, we'll see what happens here. What the players think.
I'd like to see Mexico go out in Portugal and take this game seriously and play for pride, give the fans at least a win. I think it'd be huge for the rankings, actually, which are important. I'm a big rankings person. So I think, you know, give us something. Take another one. This is the last team that you're going to face before, you know, the World Cup. I'm sure there's going to be World Cup friendlies in Europe and all of that, but this is the last big test against a big team. Sure, Cristiano Ronaldo's not there, but these are great players. They're playing in Europe. This is totally different. So I feel that just go out and give a good performance. I mean, they lose 2-3-0.
Rodolfo Cota's going to play probably, so that means that 23 players. 23
players. The first team in the world, the first team in any FIFA tournament to play all 23 players. Mexico will have that for the rest of their FIFA existence. Quite the accomplishment. 2 big records, Chucky and Mexico playing other players.
Awesome.
All right, guys. All right, well, let's wrap this up. Thanks to everybody on the chat. We appreciate. I know we needed to have a show, so we sorry about being a little bit early today. We just had some issues with playing in the talking about everything towards the end, usually at 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. Eastern. But appreciate anyone that's on. Continue to subscribe if you haven't already. Please subscribe. All of you guys on the chat, subscribe because and follow us on the Mexican Soccer Show. Follow Naive and follow Jason. Naive, are you doing are you going to the Gold Cup games? What's next for you?
No, well, we'll probably we'll do some little bit coverage with the Seattle game. I'm not going to Seattle, but we'll cover that one, the Paraguay game, and then probably head back for Liga MX. Which we'll see. We'll see, and of course, let's see what happens with the national team. I mean, a lot of stuff can happen in the next days. Yeah. You just never know how this federation reacts.
We still got 2 more games. All right, Jason.
Yeah.
continue. Really quick, your plug for the week for your great email-based all the great news.
Soccer Made kind of
Soccer
weekly.
Made.
Yeah. Hit if you're subscribing for things, also subscribe for that. Weekly email, best of English language writing on the Mexican game, delivered to your inbox every week. Lots of good stuff. I've just kind of scoured the internet, find all the good Liga MX English and L3 English stuff out there, and put it in an email for you. So yeah, subscribe to that as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, good plug, guys. All right. Well, it's been a great show. Sorry we couldn't give you guys, great hopes. We don't have all the answers like normally we try to say we do, but we'll continue to talk as long as the ball is rolling with La Verde. We'll continue to talk all about the Mexican national team. Hasta la próxima. Probably on Monday for our regular scheduled program, 7 p.m. on Monday Night Football, as we like to call it, here on the Mexican Soccer Show. Nos vemos hasta la próxima.
Ciao, ciao.
See you.